The moment Elias Mercer noticed the woman in the pale blue police uniform quietly wiping her tears with a napkin, he knew this blind date was nothing like the others. In the middle of a bright, elegant café filled with daytime chatter and soft clinking dishes, her sadness felt loud, heavy, and impossible to ignore. He had come here with low expectations and an empty wallet, just hoping for one decent meal and a polite conversation. Instead, he found himself standing at the edge of a moment that would quietly reshape two broken lives forever. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second to pause. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel Grandma Dearie. Let us know in the comments if you believe small moments can change lives. Elias was a struggling single father in his late 30s, the kind of man the world rarely noticed. His mornings began before sunrise, packing school lunches with careful precision, checking homework smudged with pencil marks, and counting the remaining bills in his worn leather wallet. His daughter, Mira, was 7 years old and carried a quiet strength that came from growing up too fast after losing her mother to illness 3 years earlier. Since then, Elias had lived in survival mode, juggling a modest warehouse job, unpaid medical debts, and the ache of loneliness he never spoke about. The blind date had been arranged by a coworker who insisted that life could still surprise him, even if Elias no longer believed it. Across the table sat Officer Rowan Hale, a woman whose uniform usually commanded respect and authority, but today seemed to weigh heavily on her shoulders. In daylight, without the protection of night shifts and flashing lights, she looked fragile, almost exposed. Her short blonde hair was neatly tucked behind her ears, and her hands trembled slightly as she pushed food around her plate. She had 2/4 spent years protecting strangers, breaking up fights, and responding to calls most people never wanted to imagine. Yet no amount of training had prepared her for the quiet collapse she felt inside after a recent case had ended badly, leaving her with guilt that followed her everywhere, even here. The café was filled with warmth and sunlight streaming through large windows, but Rowan felt cold. This date was meant to be a step forward, a sign she was still capable of normal life. Instead, the pressure cracked something open inside her. Elias noticed her shoulders tighten, her breathing shallow, and without thinking about his own nervousness or embarrassment, he simply stayed. He did not interrupt, did not judge, and did not try to fix what he did not understand. He just stood there, present in a way few people had ever been for him. What Rowan shared next was not dramatic in volume but devastating in weight. She spoke of exhaustion, of feeling invisible behind the badge, of carrying memories she could not put down at the end of the day. She admitted that she felt like a failure for wanting a life beyond duty, and ashamed for feeling lonely when she was supposed to be strong. Elias listened with the kind of attention born from his own quiet suffering. He knew what it meant to wake every day with responsibility pressing on the chest, and to feel unseen even when surrounded by people. As daylight passed slowly outside, something shifted between them. Elias did not offer solutions or heroic speeches. He shared pieces of his own life instead, the small apartment with peeling paint, the late-night budgeting at the kitchen table, the fear of disappointing his daughter, and the hope he kept alive for her sake alone. His honesty was unpolished and raw, and it grounded Rowan in a way nothing else had. For the first time in months, she felt understood not as an officer, but as a person. Their connection did not feel rushed or romantic in the way movies often portray. It, 3/4, felt careful, fragile, and deeply human. They parted that afternoon without promises, without expectations, just a quiet understanding that something meaningful had happened. For Elias, the walk home felt lighter than it had in years. For Rowan, the weight in her chest eased just enough to breathe again. Days turned into weeks, and life continued with its familiar struggles. Elias still worried about money, still worked overtime when he could, and still tucked Mira into bed each night with stories of brave explorers and gentle heroes. Rowan returned to duty, facing the same streets and same calls, but with a renewed sense that she was not alone in carrying the burden. They stayed in touch, exchanging simple messages filled with encouragement and shared understanding, building trust slowly in the daylight rather than hiding behind late-night loneliness. One afternoon, Rowan visited Elias's home for the first time. The apartment was modest, filled with second-hand furniture and children's drawings taped to the walls. Mira greeted her with curiosity and cautious hope, sensing kindness immediately. Rowan saw in that child the reason Elias never gave up, and it stirred something protective and warm inside her. In that moment, Rowan realized that healing did not come from grand gestures, but from showing up consistently, even when life was messy and uncertain. Over time, they became a quiet team. Rowan helped Elias navigate resources he never knew existed, while Elias reminded Rowan that strength did not mean carrying everything alone. Their bond grew not from perfection, but from shared resilience. Day by day, they rebuilt pieces of themselves they thought were gone forever. As the sun rose one morning over the city, Elias watched Rowan walk beside Mira on the sidewalk, laughing softly, and he felt something he had not felt since his wife passed away. It was not the absence of pain, but the presence of hope. Rowan, too, felt changed, no longer defined by her worst, for fourth days or hardest calls, but by the connections she chose to nurture. Just before this story ends, we have a special request. Please comment below with a heart or a single word that describes how this story made you feel. Your comments help this channel grow and remind others they are not alone. If this story touched your heart, moved you emotionally, or reminded you of the power of kindness, please like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to Grandma Dearie. Your support means more than you know, and together, we keep stories like this alive.